Good morning, Heidi.
Good morning, Josie.
How are you doing this fine, blustery, cold Minnesota day?
Very happy. I love the cold.
You
Love Minnesota.
do?
I do. It's
Oh
my favorite
my
season,
God.
winter.
No,
For
we're
reals.
opposite.
I'm in Minnesota.
I love when I'm right before a sunburn.
Oh no,
It's like the best feeling.
right before frostbite.
Yeah, complete opposite. Okay, so I already introduced you in the
Yay.
intro, and I'm just going to jump right in
Let's do
because
it.
I think, and you kind of responded to my email, but I think when it comes to hair and makeup, that there's like two basic options of where it can take place for your wedding day. So it can either be at the venue
Mm-hmm.
or it can be on site, which is kind of the venue too.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like let's just clarify like where can hair and makeup take place?
Okay, so if a hair and makeup artist says they come on site, they come anywhere that you're getting ready. Venue, hotel, church, home, whatever. Otherwise, if they don't offer that, then you have to go to them at their salon or studio, whatever that may look like. So
Right.
on site is wherever.
And you offer on site.
Yeah, almost exclusively. People come to my studio sometimes, but usually that's only like one bride if she doesn't have a wedding party or something like
Right.
that.
Or like her and her mom.
Correct, something like that.
Yeah. And
But-
then for trials.
right, and for trials they come to me,
And
and that's
that's what-
kind of typical too.
Right. Independent hair and makeup artists do
Mhm.
that. Like Christina, she does that. Seimer.
Yeah,
Seimer.
people come to. We'll go the trial. They'll come to the salon or a studio or agreed location.
Right. So
And
it's
then-
not weird.
No, not at all.
Because I think, well, I feel like when I was getting married, I don't know about when you, but I feel like it was maybe kind of starting to be a newer thing that you
Mhm.
would hire someone to do your hair and makeup, and then you go to like their house for the trial,
Yeah.
and then they would show up at your wedding venue to
Correct.
do your hair and makeup.
Yeah, so I've been doing on-site hair for almost 12 years, and when I first started, like no one else
No
was
one
doing
else
it.
did it.
Yeah, so it was really everyone thought, "Oh my gosh, you're at our hotel room. This is crazy."
Yeah.
And I just went.
How did you get
I
here?
know, it was like super
Is
weird.
all your stuff heavy?
Right. But then I went on site for to their house to do the wedding trial. So like in people's kitchens and living
Right.
rooms and bathrooms.
Right.
Because I wasn't doing it as like from a salon, I was doing it freelance. But now it's a lot more typical to have freelance artists that go on site for weddings. So there's definitely
and cons.
advantages. Mhm.
Right. So if you're getting married at a salon, maybe a pro is that every single member of your wedding party can like start their hair
At the same time. Yeah, so it might be a little faster if you go to a salon.
But then you're not hanging
But-
out.
Right. Every single person I've ever talked to
Yeah.
who has done that, the two biggest things they say is that everyone looks a little different. So you might have one stylist who's really good at updos and then another stylist who's not.
Yes.
So you always have the 2 or 3 bridesmaids that look kind of janky compared to everybody else.
Their hair falls out.
Right. Or they're just not happy, whatever it might be, because not every hairstylist is actually wants or likes to do updos.
Right.
And then it's just more rushed. So everyone has to like get up and get to a place at a certain time and
Yep.
be back by a certain time and all
Yep.
that. So it just kind of creates some chaos in the morning, I think.
The thing that I notice whenever, like, as a day of coordinator, I walk into the salon just to check in with the bride, or maybe I'm picking up her dress to bring to the venue for the photographer to take pictures of, it's quiet.
Mm-hmm.
It's super quiet, and everyone looks really tired and
Mhm.
sleepy and bored.
And it's not that fun.
And it's kind of messy.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to salons. It's
Mhm.
just kind of like there's no like designated place to put their
Right.
stuff. So then it's kind of everywhere. And I think that sometimes like that is the atmosphere that is created is
Yep.
when you go to the salon, like in your regular life, this is just me
Yeah,
speaking
yeah.
from like not experience because I
Mhm.
cut my own hair. But when you go,
Cool.
like you usually go to like relax and like have some you time and
Yep.
be withdrawn, and maybe your stylist like whispers sweet nothings into
Yeah.
your hair while massaging your scalp.
Yeah.
But
It's
by
way
and
more
large,
quiet.
yeah, you don't talk
Mhm.
to other people.
Right.
So maybe that kind of encourages that kind of vibe. Whereas when you're getting ready at the venue,
Mhm.
it's like, eek, like that. This is where you're getting
This is
married. This
it.
is so exciting. Like I'm gonna walk down the hall and like peek at your reception. Oh, they just put the
Totally.
chairs down. Oh.
Totally. And, some people love their hairstylist at their salon, and you can always ask if they'll come on site for your
And they
wedding.
will.
And a lot of times they will. And maybe if they don't feel comfortable doing your whole wedding party, you can hire a freelancer to come and do their wedding party. And I've done that where I have done the hair for all the bridesmaids, and the bride has her go-to stylist who comes on site.
Who just knows her hair.
Yeah, so that's totally an option too.
Yep. What about so what is your advice for where people should get married or where people should get ready in terms of either at their reception venue, at their ceremony venue, at the church, at a hotel that everyone's staying at their house?
Yeah.
What's kind of your go-to advice?
Yeah, so if everyone's staying at a hotel anyway, that's often a nice place to do it just because you don't have to get up and go anywhere. You can just kind of like chill, have mimosas, have bagels, whatever, hang out in the morning.
And to clarify, in a regular room that you're getting?
We can make it work in a regular room, but a suite is awesome. If that's not an option, often hotels have a conference room that you can go into, and that's nice too because then they have big long tables and you can bring mirrors in there, and the hotel often will provide like coffee and juice and things like that. So I've made it work in a hotel room, but
maybe to clarify,
ideal.
A suite, something with
like
seating
rooms.
for 10 with like 2 bathrooms.
Yeah. Like
and
just
then
some
an area by the window.
Yeah, for makeup to do.
And then same in the conference room, like maybe not a conference room that's in the basement.
Right. I mean,
it should have natural lighting.
And we can always make it work.
Right.
But that's kind of the ideal situation. So that's nice if your ceremony's early and you guys have to start at 7 or 8 and you don't have to get up and go anywhere. Because a lot of times your venue actually charges you to get in early, even if they have a bridal suite or someplace to get ready. You have to pay extra. Yeah. And so if your wedding's later and you have more, the time, then getting ready at the venue can be really nice because a lot of times a bridal suite is really pretty and there's nice lighting and everyone can just bring their dresses and everything there and you're already there and then you're done. But that just isn't always the case if you have an early wedding or a big wedding party. So then a hotel is really nice, or church. I mean, church nurseries are kind of the go-to if you're getting married at a church. They're just not as, they're just not as easy to deal with.
They're not picture pretty either.
They're not very picture pretty.
So know that part.
There's toys everywhere.
Weird lighting.
There's really small chairs, just like little tables. So you just, if that's what you have to work with, that's fine. But I would say like a hotel room is nice. Or if you're getting ready at somebody's house, if they have kind of an open floor plan, so you can kind of spread out in the kitchen, living room, use a dining room table, and everyone can kind of hang out and have like a big meal or something. That's fun too.
I feel like a kitchen is a really good place.
Yeah. If it's
for hair and makeup.
Mm-hmm, totally.
But then you have to think about too, so if you're having a backyard wedding, that's perfect because that's your reception and ceremony site. But you have to think about if then you are going somewhere else for your ceremony and then maybe somewhere else for your reception. How does the stuff that people bring to your house get back to those people later? So if they, let's say, like the girls take over the house and like your fiance stays somewhere else, and so then you're getting ready in the morning at your house, those girls want that stuff at the end of the night. Like, I don't know any girl who's like, just keep my shoes ready.
Right. Like everything has to be transported a little bit.
How does it get there, and who drives you there, and how do you get back? And so there's like a lot of details if you're getting ready at home, and if it's just you and like your sister who's staying with you anyways because she flew in from Seattle, and your parents that live down the street, that's super easy.
But 10 bridesmaids,
I don't know. Yeah, and then you have to think about too, that's 10 extra people that are going to be using your space.
Right.
That I am not used to having people over. Like 6 people that are not related to me have been at my house ever. So
well, and you have to think about whose house it is, and do they like that? Do they like to host? Does someone want to offer their house to do that? And do they enjoy throwing a little mini party in the morning? Because that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, on top of a wedding that day.
Right.
So sometimes moms or mother of the grooms will be like, oh yeah, you guys can all come over to my house and get ready. And that's really fun to get ready in your childhood room, I think, if you don't live at home anymore. It's kind of super nostalgic pictures.
Yes.
I had a bride last May that did that, and they're just the sweetest pictures, and her dog could be there, so that's really sweet. But it's definitely not for everyone.
Right. You just kind of got to think about what kind of morning you want to have, or are you taking a picture someplace else off-site? Like, think about the big picture. Right. Because a lot of times I think brides fail to think about, like, the time it takes to get to the first look site or all those little tiny details.
Or what about, let's go back to the part where you can get into your venue
Mm-hmm.
at like 10 a.m. I feel like is a go-to time
Yeah.
for most venues. So you can get in at 10 a.m. and then you have to start getting ready for hair and makeup maybe at like 7. What about brides that want to? I mean, I guess grooms could be included in this too, but likely your hair and makeup doesn't take as long. What about if they want to get ready at one location and
Mhm.
then switch to this reception venue or ceremony venue?
Totally an option. Like, not my favorite thing, to be honest, because of how much stuff we have. So, like a hair and makeup
You have to
artist sets
pack
up
up.
all their stuff, then you have to pack up and go to the next spot. However, if you can't have any wiggle room with your venue, because that's a
Right.
tip, ask your venue if you can get in early. Some of them are like, yeah, for $100, but some are like, sure. So it's worth asking if you want
Right.
to get in early. But if you can't, starting at a hotel and then switching to the venue makes for the pictures that you want, because a lot of brides want to be in that bridal suite doing their final
That's
look
pretty.
and their
Right.
touch-ups and all that stuff with the makeup artist and the hairstylist. So, I mean, if that's what you want, then just ask your stylist if they'll do it. And some might say no, but like if that might be
Or-
something that you're working on or
Right.
that might be an option for you, then when you're hiring your hair and makeup artist, ask if that's something they'll do and if they charge extra for that.
Right.
So,
Because that's the thing. Like, if you're getting charged extra for the hair and makeup artist,
Mhm.
isn't that the same as getting charged extra to get into the venue?
and maybe or
Right.
maybe not, depending
Probably
on the
not,
cost.
but-
So, yeah, I mean, it's just worth asking. I've probably done it 4 times this summer.
Yeah.
And it's fine because I get it. I get what they want. So just thinking about those kind of
Or-
things and asking in advance.
Right. Or another option would be, I'm like getting really into this, like someone call in so we can plan your morning up. Or you could get ready all off-site
Mhm.
and then just do your like getting ready pictures
Right.
at the venue when they open at 10. And yeah, you're not actually getting ready there,
Mhm.
but at least you have all those really pretty backdrops and you could get
Correct.
changed there. You could get dressed
You could,
there.
yeah, everyone
Right,
can bring
because
their
you don't want to be in a
dresses there.
car in your wedding dress, likely.
Yep.
So you could get there. Your hair and makeup's already done.
Yep.
I remember from dance. You've seen these, right? They're like kind of like a hairnet, but it goes over your whole face and it's mesh, and you like zip it up like
No.
a fencing thing.
No.
I
No.
kept it for a really long time.
Oh.
So for dance, hair and makeup's done
Yeah.
and it's thick, and so you'd put on this like mask with a zipper,
Oh, maybe
and
I
then you'd
should
put
buy
on your
some
costume.
And
No
you know,
one,
pass
no
them
one
out
wants
to
to wear that.
brides.
No one wants to wear that. They'd be like, "That's okay, Josie. You're weird."
I just thought of this. One other thing that brides are doing too is renting an Airbnb near their venue to get
Yeah.
ready at. So,
Yeah.
if a hotel's not an option or the hotel has small rooms or whatever, that
Right.
sometimes is a nice option because then you have like this pretty kind of set up house, especially if you're doing like a barn wedding that's sort of maybe outside of a city or something like that.
Right.
That's a nice option.
And then everyone has a place to stay too.
Yeah. So then all your girlfriends could stay there too.
Yep.
Or, I mean, I have had people just do that for getting ready,
Right.
and
Right.
it's worth it to them to have
It's
a space
worth
like
it.
that.
Yeah, it just depends what's important.
Mm-hmm.
And if the getting ready pictures aren't important to you, then
Then what else?
who cares where you get ready? But just know that you might have a photographer who's like, "Oh, I'll take some of those shots because I know you'll want them."
Yeah.
Because they are kind of nice. Like, that's a big portion of your day if you're
That's
spending
true.
5 to 7 hours getting ready.
Right.
Like,
right.
that you don't have any, like, pictures of.
Right.
I was going to say memories of, but you have memories. This is my husband's
you always
argument.
have
He's
memories.
like, "You don't need pictures. Took a picture
Some of us
in
do.
my memory." Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that timeline of the
Yes.
day of. You create a timeline for your brides.
I do.
They will say, like, this is kind of the order I want it to go in, or how does that work? So
Yeah.
let's do a specific example. I'm a bride. I want all updos for my wedding party,
Okay.
and there's 6 of us, including me, and then 2 moms and 3 flower girls.
Okay. So for me, I know that I need an hour for you, and I like 30 minutes for wedding party. Flower girls, 3 of them, I would do them all in an hour, even though it'd probably take me less. So for me, if you had 6 plus 2, 4 hours plus you, 5 hours plus the flower girl, 6 hours. So that would be 6 hours I'd want total. And then I would sort of I'd ask for everyone's name and I'd put it together in a timeline. If you had specifics of like who you wanted to go when, but a lot of times people don't.
Right.
There are flower girls at the end, maybe a maid of honor in the beginning so she can be available to help do things. And then if you want makeup too, I'll kind of go back and forth so everyone has a different time slot for hair and makeup. And that just keeps things organized and helps people know when they're going to go. So even if you're like really laid back and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't really need to have a timeline, it's kind of nice because then people know when they can go and get food or when they go to the bathroom or when they need to have their hair dry by or whatever, and
yep.
everyone has their slot.
Instead
and
of
you just know it's
nagging
going
you,
to get
like,
done.
when do I go? When do I go? Am I going next?
Exactly.
You can just put it up
And
somewhere.
then you know that everyone's not going to be forgotten, that
Right.
everyone has their time. And
Right.
I always include a little buffer time
Yes.
as well. So that's what I do personally. I think it's an important thing to ask when you're hiring on-site hairstylists. Do you do a timeline? How long does it take you to do each person? Because
Right.
I'm 30 minutes, but not everyone would be. So if they
45 is
or
what
45.
I just buffer for because I don't know who
Yeah.
the hair and makeup artist.
Because a lot of times they don't do a
is-
timeline. I don't know who else does timelines. I just do them because I like that.
Yeah.
But if your hairstylist doesn't, then you want to find out how long it takes for her to do each person and
Right.
maybe your
And can we have an
planner.
order?
right, something like that.
What about bringing on extra stylists? When do you kind of decide to do that? Because let's say it's like a wedding at Villa Belitza and we get in at 10
Mhm.
and then the wedding is at 4, so our first look is at 1.
Right. So you
So
only have
3
3
hours.
hours. So then in that case, I would bring in an additional stylist and makeup artist. And so we'd have 2 people going at the same time. And that would cut the time in half. And so it totally depends on how much time you have.
Right.
Do you have 6 or 7 hours? Do you want to spend that much time? Or do you have 6 or 7 hours, but you don't want to spend that much time getting ready?
Right.
A lot of times when I say, oh, I have an additional stylist, do you want them to come? They're like, oh, yeah, because I don't want to spend 7 hours getting ready. I'd rather spend 3.5.
Right.
So that's another thing to ask when you're looking around and you're hiring people. Are you looking for someone who has a team that they can bring on, or do you just need one person?
But then that maybe this is where it gets into, I feel like, budget questions,
Mhm.
right? So for some reason, I feel like hair and makeup add-ons are the things that brides are the least likely to just go for. They get really stingy about it. I feel
Like adding extra
Adding
bridesmaids or
adding an extra stylist
oh, sure.
or like spreading out the time so that we're not so crunched.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the timeline, starting off on the wrong foot for hair and makeup can throw everything off.
Yeah.
So now your first look got pushed back an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have less time for your bridal party pictures, for
Mhm.
family photos. Now you don't
Mhm.
have that downtime before the ceremony. So you're just going to be like, ba-boom, 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 ba-boom,
Yeah.
married, done, leave the end of the night, cry because you don't remember
Totally.
anything.
Well, and I feel like if you're talking with a hair or makeup artist that you're trying to hire and you're asking them about time and they're being really vague or they don't know, that's sort of a red flag. 'Cause
Right. It's
they
a
need
really
to be
important
organized.
thing.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes, you
Yeah.
have to be organized.
And some people charge extra to bring a team. I don't. So I would charge extra just for traveling. So if there's more artists that are traveling outside of the cities, yes. But otherwise, it's just part of the package.
Yes,
for me.
but that cost of like mileage or reimbursement, I
Mhm.
mean, I just feel like everyone, if we can take a step back and look at what percentage of your overall wedding budget
It's
that
the
even
smallest.
is, it's coins.
Yeah. Your
It's
hair and makeup
coins.
is the smallest percentage of
Right?
your whole
And
wedding
that's
budget.
the bulk of your day.
It's true. And what you see
Right.
for the rest of
Right.
your picture life.
I feel like it's more impactful than the dress.
Well, I mean, if you have crappy hair and makeup, even if your dress is gorgeous, you don't like.
You have crappy hair and makeup and you don't like the
do.
way that you look.
It's hard. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think
That's
it's
like when you go to try on clothes and you don't like the way your hair is, and
Yes.
everything you try
you
on,
think
you're
it's
like,
ugly.
oh, this doesn't look good. Oh, this,
Mhm.
and so then you put your hair up in a ponytail. You're like, oh, this is kind of
Wait,
cute.
this is much better. I know. I don't
Yes.
even get dressed until my hair and makeup's done for that reason every day.
Yes. What do
Yeah.
I feel like wearing based on my hairstyle?
Exactly. Yeah, it's really important, and I think it sets the tone. Like when a bride feels really beautiful and
Right.
confident and ready to
Confident.
go, then that really sets the tone for the rest of the day. So you want to have a hair and makeup artist that's like confident and that you trust
Right.
and that is going to actually like be a nice person to be around all morning too.
And execute your vision. Like, I
Yes.
really like these side braids with loose waves.
Yes.
And then they like do it, and you're like, okay,
This wasn't it.
so this is a 1992 braid.
Right.
I was thinking a 2016
The modern
braid.
braid.
Yes.
And that's where the
could not get
trial comes
tighter.
in.
Right.
Mhm.
Well, and then even for your like your bridesmaids, and like caveat, if your bridesmaids don't feel pretty, they also will not be pleasant to
Truth,
be.
they might be a little
around.
cranky.
They will be super cranky, and they're gonna fuss, and they're gonna spend extra time fixing their hair and makeup.
And then you have a problem with the
then
timeline.
you have a big
Mhm.
problem because you're like, Stacy, you got to be in this picture, and Stacy screams at you because she's like,
Whatevs. I just spent
I
$200.
don't want to get too specific because then you'll be like, this is a real example,
No.
isn't it?
But they
Poor
do spend
Stacey.
a lot of money on that too.
Right.
So it's like you want quality work because they're
Right.
spending a lot to be in your wedding.
Right.
So I feel like you kind of have a responsibility as a bride to make sure you have good people.
And maybe looking at too the cost of one of your bridesmaids to be in your wedding. Like it's not just the dress or shoes, or like maybe they're getting Spanx and and a tan,
All the things, right?
but also like their hair and makeup. So looking at that whole package and then looking at the people who you want to be in your wedding, does that seem like a reasonable price to ask
Right.
them to pay to be by your side?
Right.
And then what are things that you could do to make it easier on them? Like maybe we just do rent the one runway. I have a
Right. Like
tough time
something
with
like
word.
that. Or
Dresses.
maybe they don't get hair and makeup. Maybe
Right.
like someone in your wedding party is kind of good at makeup and can help do that. You know, you can figure out different ways to cut costs, but
Right. Yeah.
you want them to feel pretty too.
Yeah, and taken care of. Or maybe you devote part of your budget to paying for that for your
And that's like your gift instead of jewelry or something.
because I think it's really difficult also in the morning when you're done with hair and makeup and you have to pay your stylist and you have to collect money from everyone.
Yep.
Maybe collect the money at the rehearsal or maybe just pay for it for them.
Right. And I collect the invoice 2 weeks before the
I
wedding.
love you that you do
Because
that.
it's
It's
not
stressful.
comfortable. It's stressful. Everyone's running around like, I forgot this cash. I don't have a check. I don't, whatever.
Yeah, also
and
you're getting married. Why do you want to ask people to
No
give you
one wants
money
to
to give
deal with
to
that.
someone?
And no one wants to sit and calculate like at noon when the photographer's there and you're all ready to go out the door. It's just like such a headache. So
Such a headache.
it's so much easier to pay in advance. It seems like a lot sometimes, but just, get that Venmo app, collect from your bridesmaids,
Right,
whatever,
right.
and then pay it all. at
Or
once.
just gift it.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Or you could just gift it. Yes.
Okay, so skipping back to trials. For sure, a trial for the bride.
Yes.
How many times do you get asked if other people can do trials? And do you do them?
I do other people's trials. Typically, it's the mom who wants a trial, and that's totally fine. Moms often are getting jazzed up all the time, so they're super nervous.
Right.
And if they will be more calm and put together on your wedding day if they have a trial, then let's do a trial.
And they're really
run.
distrusting of your ability to
Totally.
make them look how they want to look.
Yes.
I feel
Especially
like,
moms
too.
who've had the same stylist for like 30 years, and now
Right.
you're trying to come in and give her something modern. It's
Right.
hard. So I'm totally cool doing that. I've done a few bridesmaids trials too, if they want it. I mean, it costs extra. If that's what they want to do, then so be it.
Right.
It's not super common, but
But then
we do it.
too, I'm thinking about my experience as like a maid of honor, and I have really curly hair, so I'm always like, let me just straighten it for you. But then I know, like, likely they're not gonna get my baby hairs, and probably it's gonna not look how I want it to look.
yeah.
Like, and sometimes I think you just have to bite the bullet as a bridesmaid and be like, whatever, this
Yeah.
is not my day. If like 3 pictures exist in the world where I'm not crazy about how I look, that's
It's gonna
okay.
be fine.
Because guess what? There's probably a million more, especially if you went to college.
It's true. Sweats
There's a
and
lot of
sweatshirts.
pictures
Yes.
of you that you don't like. Yeah.
Yes.
And just be like, oh, well, like that's not why I'm here. I'm here to support my friend who's getting married and be a bridesmaid or a bridesman for them.
And that's a great friend.
that's
Those don't
it.
always exist, but
Yeah.
for
And
the most
it's going to
part.
cost money, and that's okay. Like, I'm not poor,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm assuming.
Well, and you as a bride, you know your bridal party, you know who you're asking. So if you feel like a bridesmaid will do better if she gets a trial first, then bring her along to the
Right,
trial and let
right.
her do it.
Right.
And some people just like to be pretty, like get done
Yes,
up. And so
yes.
any excuse to do it, they're like, sign me up. And
Oh,
that's
great.
cool too. So
I have a Tinder date tonight.
I know.
I'll go to
I
a
know.
trial.
yes,
I don't know. Do
Yes.
people use Tinder? I don't know.
they do. People get married off of Tinder.
When do you suggest? Yes, that's true. When do you suggest doing the trial for hair and makeup?
So I prefer 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
And I know some people want to do it much earlier as soon as they hire their hairstylist, even if their wedding's a year out. And that's fine if that's like, if you're kind of type A and you'll feel more comfortable if you do that. But 4 to 6 weeks means that your hair color, your length, all that is similar to the wedding day. Also, the rest of your vision has sort of come together at that point.
Right.
So I feel
You've
like
got your
hair,
dress.
yes, you have the dress, you have the style, you have like everything's kind of come together. So it's easier to pick a hairstyle because there's so many options.
Right.
If you've already kind of had your accessories, just the whole feel of your wedding, where almost every single bride that I've done about a year in advance, she almost always gets another trial because she's
Right.
unsure if she likes the first one or she hardly remembers it or she's sort of changed things around or whatever it might be. So
Right.
I think because you're not going to base your wedding off what your hair looks like. Most people aren't. It's better to base your hair off of what the wedding already kind of has the
Right,
feel.
colors and
Yeah, all
all that.
that stuff. So
Yeah.
wait until about a month or two beforehand.
And then what if you were initially thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to wear like a V-neck strap dress, and then you change your mind. You're like,
Right.
actually, I'm going to wear strapless. Actually, I'm going to wear something with sleeves. Actually, I'm going to wear a suit.
Your hair might change entirely.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what if you decide to shave your head?
Right.
I don't
mean,
know.
then you don't need a hairstylist anymore. But
Okay, what if you decide to get a pixie cut?
all right, you might need a hairstylist. But you can always do a second trial. I mean, just find out those sort of things in advance. Like, what's your policy? What's the hairstylist policy on second trials? Or does she do multiple during the one trial that you have?
Right.
Just
Because maybe
finding
you
out those
just want
things.
to get your hair done, and that would be fun too. So you could schedule that and then go try on dresses.
Right. And I've had brides do that too.
And
Like,
not do
they
your
have their dress
makeup.
appointment on the same day as their hair, so they can kind of see how that comes together. For me, I mean, for brides for a trial, they want to see what it will probably look like on the wedding day. For me, I just like to figure out the bride's hair texture, how it works, how it curls, all those things. And once I've done that once, if she changes her mind to a completely different hairstyle, that's totally cool. Yeah, because
Right.
now I know what to expect with her hair. And so there's no surprises, and I can kind of tell her how to prep it or whatever
Right.
that might be. So I'm cool with changes on the wedding day without doing a second trial, but I know not everyone's confident.
Or even just their personality.
Mhm.
Like, how did they respond after the trial, right?
Like, sometimes I recommend a second trial. So I'll do somebody's hair and I can just tell they're not totally sure,
But they're
or
being
they're
nice
on the
too.
fence and they're being nice, and I'll email them
Yes.
afterwards and be like, look, like, tell me the truth. Do you want a
Yes.
second trial? That is totally fine. Like, let's figure that out. So
And what a bummer that women are like that. That
I
we
know, everyone feels so
don't
bad.
want to be mean to whoever's like doing our hair, makeup, or like
Yes.
wardrobe. We're like,
But
oh my
be
gosh,
mean.
thanks for this scarf. I love it. It's so cute. And then you get home and you're like,
Like, I hate
I never wear
this.
this. I'm
Yes.
never gonna wear this.
Especially on your
How
wedding,
bad-
like,
what a
be
bummer.
honest. You're paying so much money. This is your one day. You're going to have the pictures forever. First of all, no hairstylist should be offended if you don't like it, because
It's your body.
and your hair and your opinion.
Yeah.
But if they are, oh well, like, this is your wedding.
I know.
Like, you're putting a lot into it. This is like one of the best days of your life. Who cares? Like,
can't
be
force
as blunt as you need
it.
to be. Yeah.
Oh, that's so tough though. Okay, so maybe some tips, like go home after your trial and ask your fiance, "Hey, what do you think?" And take
Yeah.
note of what they say, like, "You don't look like yourself at all,"
Mhm.
or "You look so pretty. I've never seen you prettier."
Yeah, ask your fiance. Sometimes people don't want their fiance to see. So
True.
taking some pictures, showing girlfriends.
Best friend.
Yeah, like, if you're unsure, get some opinions.
Ask strangers on the street.
Yeah. But and it's nice to, wear it and have it at home and kind of look at yourself a lot. But at the same time, I have seen brides get really confused because of, like, too many cooks in the kitchen,
True.
and giving too many opinions. So if you know that you like it and
Then
you're
you
really
like
happy,
it.
then you like it and it's good.
Right.
Keep it. But if
Right.
you're really on the fence and you just want some input, then ask a couple people that you really trust, or bring them with. Bring
Right.
with your maid of honor. Bring with your mom.
And think about too how you look in person will not necessarily be mirrored in pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like, oh, this lip color is really dark, well, if you have wine flowers in your bouquet, that's
Yeah.
gonna look really awesome.
Right.
With the right, like, photographer edits.
Well, and that's the thing about makeup is a lot of people want to look kind of natural, look like themselves, but you
It's not
almost
gonna come
always want to
across.
go, you want to go just like
Yeah.
a step more than you think, because of pictures and because the fact that you're wearing a beautiful dress, like, your hair is all done
Right.
up, you have flowers,
Right.
all these things. You want to have everything be a little bit enhanced. So
And it's gonna have to last a
all
whole
night. Mhm.
day. Like, if you get your
Yeah.
hair and makeup done, let's just say at like 10 a.m. is when
You're
you sit
finished.
in the chair. Okay,
Mhm.
you're finished. And then the end of the night is midnight.
Yeah, you want to be, like, jamming out that cute look all
That's
night
14
long.
hours.
Yeah, you need long lasting. You need a little more color.
Right. And
You don't
maybe
want
more
just a
hairspray than
dusting
you
of
thought.
bronzer.
Yes. Yeah. And then, like, a hairstyle that's going to
Yeah.
actually hold.
Which, that's another recommendation for the trial. Get it in the morning. If they
Right.
don't offer it in the morning, because I don't right now, just make
Just
sure
wait.
they, like, stay up a little later. So you can, go outside, stand in the wind, like, see how
Right.
it responds to
Stand
being
in
out.
the wind, because
Yeah.
if you are thinking, I'm going to have my hair down, or I'm going to have, like, little curly wispies down around my face and then, like, a cute bun or something, and your day might be a little windy.
Breezy.
Think about, are you the kind of person who's used to strands of hair touching your face?
Or will you hate
I'm
that?
not.
Yeah.
Yes, I would be constantly like, and then it's going to get, not ruined, but
Yeah.
it's going to get impacted by
Yes.
you constantly touching your hair.
So just wear it.
Yeah.
Like, go run errands.
Right.
Go in and out of the car.
Right.
Like, see how you like it.
Right. In and out of the car.
Mhm.
Yes, that's a good one.
Yeah.
With the window down.
Totes.
A little bit.
I don't say totes. Totally.
You're a changed person.
All of a sudden, I'm really on trend.
Oh my God. So totally cool. So if I am a bride, let's just say,
Yes.
and I'm coming to the trial, do you want to see, 1, pictures of what I want my hair and makeup to look like? Or 2, do you want me to just explain it to you?
Okay. So definitely bring pictures.
Yeah.
Bring a Pinterest board. You know, some people know exactly the hair and makeup they want.
Right.
And if you're that person, then bring those exact pictures and be like, this is what I want. If you just like a lot of ideas of things, then pin them all and bring all those in, because that whole
Something like this.
yes, because your stylist and your makeup artist can kind of get the vision by seeing all of those different things and maybe make suggestions on what would look good for your skin type or your hair type based on kind of the overall style that you like. So it's
Yeah.
really helpful to have a Pinterest board, or just like, you know, some Instagram photos or something of people that you really like, an aesthetic that is kind of your style.
Right.
But there are brides that seriously are like, just make me look pretty. I don't care. And if you're truly that type and you just maybe are like, I want it all up or I want it all down, like, that's fine. That's totally fine.
Trust your stylist.
Yes. And you can try a couple of things. So I've had, the tricky thing is, the trickiest bride, I would say, are the ones that come in and kind of have a vision, but they don't really know how to, they don't know how to describe it, and they maybe like 2 or 3 things that are completely different.
Right.
And if you're in that camp, that's okay. But I really recommend asking if you can try 2 or 3 things.
Right.
Because if you are not sure if you want it up or down and you're really split and you're not going to be happy if you just do it down, and then you always will wonder if you do it up, like, just pay the extra money up front to know if you like both things. And not everyone charges. I would do 2 styles in the trial for the same
Because really,
price.
a trial typically includes 1 hairstyle, and then depending on what they booked, 1 makeup
Yeah. And you
application.
can, right. And you can
is
make
really
some
what it
adjustments.
includes.
Right. And we will do the style and then kind of talk about how to make adjustments, make notes of it, and then adjust it on the wedding day. But there are some people that truly need to see a couple of different things on themselves because they maybe always just wear their hair down, do nothing with it.
Right.
And that's okay. Like, you'd rather get all those details worked out in your trial so that you go into your wedding day feeling totally comfortable.
Like, I love my hairstyle.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cute.
Because if you're out on the fence at all or a little bit stressed, you will wake up and be anxious until
Yeah.
your hair is done. And
Yeah.
if you get it done and you're like, actually, I want it down, again, we go back to the timeline, it throws it off.
Yes.
Like, you just want to know that your hair and makeup are like on point and you're going to be super happy. And you
Right.
can't
Right.
figure that on the wedding day.
I
Like,
think it's
figure that out
good too,
beforehand.
like, going back to the Pinterest, I think it's good if it was me, I would like put a bunch of pictures, maybe not even on my Pinterest board or account. Maybe I'd like print them off and I'd point to the things that I liked. So then you figure out to yourself as a bride
Mm-hmm.
or as a groom, I don't know, what exactly it is that you like.
Oh, yeah. And
Like,
that's
I
totally
love the way
doable.
that this looks, but I would never wear that color lipstick. Okay,
Yes.
so then
I
in
like
this
these
picture,
eyes.
the thing that stands out is the lips. But
Right.
you don't like that color. Okay, good
Right.
to know.
I mean, that's huge because some people bring a picture and they maybe just liked one curl on the side, but they didn't
Yes.
like the whole rest of it.
But I don't want a braid.
Right.
you're like,
and
okay,
you're
this
like,
is
but
a braid.
picture is a braid and whatever.
Yeah.
So if you're like, I like this back, I like this front, I like this
Right.
braid, I like these kind of curls, I like this kind of texture, whatever, then bring all those pictures and tell your stylist what you like about each picture. A good stylist will ask you.
Right.
And if she doesn't ask any questions and you go to the trial and she just starts doing
Red
with-
flag.
huge red flag.
Also, maybe pinning hairstyles with a complementary dress or outfit to what you're gonna wear, right? So if it's like, a low back dress, but
Yeah.
you're wearing like a turtleneck top,
Yeah.
like that's gonna look different than what the picture is.
Well, and that's something just to keep in mind in general is like the type of hair, the length,
Yes.
the color.
Oh yeah, let's
like,
talk about this.
I mean, so many people bring in blonde
Mhm.
pictures because the updos you can see the details better in the
Right.
blondes, and that's fine. But if your hair is brown, it's just or really dark brown, it's gonna
not
look
gonna
really
look the
different.
same.
And that's Something else as a hairstylist that I try to be really honest about is, okay,
This
this is
person
the
has
picture.
butt length hair.
Yes, or this is the texture of their hair. Yours is not like that. Like, this is what I can do. Will you be happy with that? Or is that not going to be your vision? Let's try something different. And same with makeup. Like, maybe a skin type's really different or
Yes.
eye shape's really different, something like that. And so your makeup artist needs to be really honest about that
Right.
too. Because you're not the picture.
I feel like that's my dilemma in life too. Also, when you type in on Pinterest, like bridal makeup,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's gonna come up with dark skin.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like that makeup color is not gonna look the same on my skin.
Right.
Or that hairdo is fine and dandy,
Right.
but I
And
ain't
naturally
got that
curly
kind
hair.
of hair.
Right. And that's
Right?
tricky too. And so, like, for example, someone emailed me this summer and she was like, I have really curly hair. I'm super nervous about it.
Yes.
I think you've done some curly hair because I've seen it on your website, but can you show me examples? So I sent her 5 photos of people that I know have really curly hair to start with and what
Legit
their
curly.
updo look like.
Right.
Yeah, so then she could actually see people that truly had that instead of just typing it into Pinterest, because you don't know if that's
don't
their real hair
know.
texture or if that was created or what.
And if you type in curly hair on Pinterest, every girl with curly hair knows ain't curly hair gonna show
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like I don't mean like curl it with a curling iron.
Right.
I mean it comes out of your head that way.
Yes. So
Yeah.
ask your stylist if you have a specific texture, if you have really fine hair, if you have really thick hair, long, whatever. Ask
Right.
her to send you specific pictures of updo she's done in the past. And
Yeah.
if she doesn't or she can't, maybe find somebody else.
Yeah. Or,
And that's okay.
Or do a trial, and then
And
if
see
they
if
do
she
what,
can do it.
yeah. But just know, it's just good to know, like
Yes.
going into it, like okay, don't go into it being like this person's probably gonna fail because they didn't
Right.
send me pictures.
Right.
But go into it just being maybe a little cognizant
Yes.
that what you want might not end up being what you get, and you should reevaluate
Yes.
your options.
And it is okay to do a trial and then not to hire the person.
right,
Like, that is
don't
totally
have
okay.
guilt.
Because, again, going back to this, it's your wedding day.
It's your
like,
wedding day.
You don't want to be with someone all morning that you don't like. Maybe she does bomb hair, but you don't like her personality. Don't
Yeah.
pick that person. She's going to
Right.
be with you all morning.
Right.
And then same with the style. If it's not what you want, go somewhere else. Like, you cannot be too picky on your wedding day.
And the plan of being like in a separate space
Mhm.
than your stylist that you don't like or your bridesmaids that you
Oh,
don't get along
yeah.
with, that's going to be a fail, you guys.
Every
That's going to be
time.
a fail. If you think as a bride
Every
that
time.
people will leave you alone or not be around you
It's not
because
true.
you put them in a separate room,
They'll
that
keep coming.
they will break down the wall
Oh,
to
yeah.
be next to you
Yes.
and doing all the things that you're afraid that they're going to
Yes.
do.
Yes. And even like a hairstylist that maybe is really nice, but just doesn't mesh with your personality,
Right.
that's okay to say no to as well.
Right. And then there's things you can do, I think, to mold your morning into the environment that you want it to be, right? Like
Mhm.
maybe you start off the morning by going to breakfast with your friends. So
Yeah.
that gets all your jitters out, right?
Yeah, or going
And-
for a jog or
Yeah.
something.
And then you're
Mhm.
working on like a full stomach or like
Yep.
with all these extra endorphins from running.
Yep.
Set music up.
Oh yeah, get a playlist. Get the getting ready morning playlist.
And I
together.
actually think the playlist should be more tuned towards Zen music than pump it up.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of a personality thing because like I had one bride who was like, "We need Zen,"
Yeah.
and she started playing Zen. And she's like, "I'm gonna fall asleep.
Oh,
I can't do this."
Yeah,
guys."
yeah, yeah.
So I think it just depends.
Maybe something like chill.
Like a Michael Bublé.
Because I feel like that pump it up, like, oh, I'm just going to put a bunch of Spice Girls on a playlist. It makes the room feel clustered and like chaotic and just maybe it's not like the
Like,
best way to start
right.
the day. Like, would
And-
you do that at home? Would you be like, oh, okay, I'm getting ready.
8
Tell me
a.m..
what you want.
Well, and maybe I would. I would, 'cause that's me. But a lot of people switch. So they start
Yeah.
out with something chill and then they switch
Yeah.
to like 90s pop or something right near the end. I
Right.
mean, you just gotta kind of figure out every bridal party is different. So sometimes there's a bridal party that's like that's their jam. They want to just be like crazy and having a great time and all night, all
Eminem,
morning.
all
Yeah.
morning.
And I've been to that wedding. But then there's also, ones that just want to be more chill. So you kind of can create, like you said, you can create your atmosphere with the music and
And you
how
can
you're gonna do
divvy
it.
that or assign that job to one of your bridal
and
party
that's like
members.
fun for them.
Yes.
too.
Like I created a playlist and I'm bringing my
Yes.
Bose sound system. Where should I set
Totally.
up? And you're like, do whatever, girl. You got it.
Yes,
And then have another
yes.
person that's in charge of bringing like breakfast.
Yes.
Or
Assign.
yes.
Delegate.
yes, be like, can you do this?
They're
It
your
would really
bridesmaids.
mean a lot to me. If you say it
Yes.
that way, most
Oh yeah.
people will do anything for you
Oh,
at
yeah.
weddings if you ask them in a way that makes them feel important. You know,
Mhm.
if you're like, oh,
Do this.
Like, no one can do this for me. Like, could you just bring breakfast? They're going to be like,
Or you
okay.
just command
Like,
people.
you don't even care about me. Like,
Right.
that's
Well,
just
and your
how it works.
bridesmaids should be like your closest pals
Yeah.
and family. So if you individually give them each something that would really be meaningful to
Right,
help,
right.
I think people appreciate that.
Like, you are in charge of making sure that everything's out of the room. This is if you don't have a day of coordinator, too,
Right.
to, like, help you. But usually I don't show up until end of getting ready, right?
Sure.
I'm not there in the morning because I don't do 14-hour days.
Right.
I do 10-hour days for my own, like, work-life balance. But having someone in the morning just that can, like, maybe go ahead of you and, like, set up the breakfast bar.
Yes.
So that when you
Make it
walk
look
into the
pretty.
room, you're not like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff we have to do before we can even get
Yeah.
ready.
Or
You know?
someone who like hangs up a little banner that said Mr. and Mrs. or
Yay.
like
Hey,
cute,
you're doing
cute stuff like
it.
that. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like that. And I mean, if you're, I think the other thing that I wanted to get into is if it's two brides getting ready and you want to get ready separately and you each have your own bridal party,
Mm-hmm.
maybe then thinking about one person being on site and one person being off site. So taking advantage of the on
Yeah.
site still, and maybe one of the brides has less hair and makeup, and then other people in their bridal party, maybe of like a bridesman, who doesn't have any,
Sure.
hair and makeup to that they can just do themselves. Then that would be a good person to get ready on site with.
Yeah.
And
If
then
they don't have the full team.
and then
of
the people
that
who are
need their
getting
hair and
lots of
makeup.
hair and makeup can be off site.
Yep. I've also done 2 brides where they just have 2 rooms and then hair makeup set up, makeup in one room, hair in the other,
Yeah.
and then people
and then
swap.
people swap.
And
swap.
the brides just they figure out a secret way to not see each other.
Yeah,
when
okay,
when
because they
when
still did
swap.
like a first look.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep, totally. And that worked out great.
So then it was just like, okay, I'm going in the hall, and we're
Mhm.
both gonna like
Close it,
blindfold
yes.
ourselves, and we're
And
gonna like
pass in the
and
hall,
then turn.
like ships in the night. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
So that works out pretty good too.
Yeah, I think if there's adjoining rooms too,
Yeah, because then both brides kind of have the experience of getting ready with
Yes.
their girls.
because if you're both brides, like one of you likely is not gonna be like, that's okay. I guess I'll be the groom, and
Yeah.
I won't have
don't
any
wanna
of the
get
special
ready.
moments.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'll have all men in my bridal party.
Right.
Fine.
And that doesn't usually happen. So
Right. I like that. That's great. Okay, so back to like the trial,
mm-hmm.
and I brought my Pinterest board. What about, do you want to see, obviously, what my dress looks like? What about what the venue is, what my colors are? Does that
Yeah.
all of that play into?
So if someone's having a hard time figuring out what they want, like I usually ask to see the dress and ask kind of what the style is. So then
Right.
I can offer suggestions. So if you're the type that doesn't know exactly, then I'll start to ask questions about that. Because if you're getting married in a ballroom and you have a ballroom gown, then maybe the hairstyle with lots of pieces coming out and really whimsical isn't really the best look. Like you want something a little more classic. So
Yeah.
I like to kind of know the feel and the vibe of the wedding, and that can help me make suggestions to you of the style that you're looking for.
Yeah. Or if they're wearing a veil.
Right, a veil, hair accessory. Yeah, what are you guys doing? Like, is it winter? Are you doing like shawls, like fuzzy boas? Not boas. What are those things called? Fuzzy.
Shawl.
Yeah, like a warm
wrap
thing.
thing.
Yeah. So
made out of faux fur.
like, yeah, exactly, a
Or
faux fur
knitted.
wrap or a knit wrap. If everyone wants their hair down and you're doing a lot of pictures outside, like, and you have all those, maybe that's not the
gonna-
best. That might be in
yeah.
the way. So hair up might be better. So just things
Right.
like that. All those details are nice to know.
What
in
about
making the
man
decision.
buns? How do you manage man buns?
I've done a few. You just do them.
I don't know. Would you like go over to where the groom is
I
getting
actually have done
ready?
that, and so this is kind of a great story. One of the maybe it's not that great. One of the
Everyone's like, tell us,
tell us the
oh,
cool
what is
story,
it?"
and I'm like, wah, wah. The groom got in this weird fight situation where he wasn't really in the fight, but there was like a brawl or something going on,
Oh.
and accidentally got punched somehow, like 2 days before the wedding, and had like
Oh.
weird situation going on in his cheek. And so my makeup artist had to go over and do like
a touch up.
a touch up, like really special makeup to get all this bruising off his cheek from this
Yes.
like weird brawl that he was a part of.
That's like that movie, Mike and what is that? Mike and something need wedding dates with Zac Efron.
No, I don't know.
And that one guy, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And the girl, her sister, is getting married, and there's like an ATV accident, and she gets like road burn
Terrible.
from the wheel on her face.
Don't go ATVing before your wedding. Although my
Mike and
husband
Dave,
ran
maybe
the
that's what it is.
Tough Mudder the day of our wedding.
He did?
Yes. And I was like, that's cool. I would love for you to do that with your friends. That's awesome. Just come back in one piece and don't mess up your face.
But he has a little leeway because
Well,
I feel like scratches or bruises wouldn't show up as
True,
much.
in a darker complexion. And I just didn't want him to be like limping down the aisle or have like a swollen something because
Yeah.
there's like electrical fences in the Tough
Yeah.
Mudder. Anyway,
Where did you get married?
in Stillwater, Minnesota,
At
the Loft at Studio J.
Yeah, which is down the street from JX, the new JX.
Yes.
I haven't been in the loft. It's smaller,
beautiful.
right,
It's-
than JX?
Yeah, it's ton smaller. It's very intimate.
Is it like cap at 100?
No, it's
120?
it's bigger than that. I think you could
Okay.
seat 180 or 200 or something.
Yeah.
We did a past cocktails and past appetizers, so we
Yes.
didn't do seating, and we fit in like I think we fit in like 240 for the reception. I think we had like 300 just
What?
smashed in there. But keep in mind, they were only open for like half a year at this point, so I'm like, how many people could we bring?
And
And
they're like,
yeah,
"Any
what else?"
amount.
Yeah, and so we just
Judd.
brought in extra chairs, and it was like full to the brim. But
So you did cocktail tables and then some seated.
like high top tables, and then we had a few like chairs still sitting out, but
Yeah.
it was just mostly like a dance and
Yeah.
cocktails and stuff.
Fun. And
Yeah.
you got married off-site.
Both. We got married and we did the reception at the same place.
Just a little segue. Is that tugging at your heartstrings?
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I can handle it.
Heidi's young child was
Squawking.
squawking. That's a
a
great
squawk.
word. Okay, that's good. So everyone listening, just so you know, Heidi has a child.
And
She
he's
was not
super
married
cute and he's crying.
yesterday. Yes. Okay, so nice segue about your wedding. I love hearing about that because I think everyone's weddings were a little different, and you've been married for a while.
A little over 3 years.
Oh,
The
okay.
summer was 3.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
And wait, who did your hair and makeup?
I did my own hair. That was a little cray.
Yeah,
Couldn't hire
I was gonna
anybody.
say, do you suggest that?
I mean, if you
Are really good at it.
If you're really good at it and you know that you'll be comfortable, I knew if I went anywhere or had anyone come on site, I would probably take it out.
Right.
So I was like,
Why
I might as well
waste the money?
just spend 2 hours myself and doing what I want.
I wish I had done that. Actually, no offense to my hair and makeup
Yeah.
artist, but
I knew I'd be happier that way.
I
And some
know.
people, even if you're not a hairstylist, like you just
know
you
your
know
hair.
yourself and you know your hair and you'd be happier doing it yourself. And that's cool.
Right.
You can always hire somebody for your wedding party. You don't have to just have them come for you too.
I had a bride do her own makeup, and I think initially upon hearing that, I was very like, oh, but it looks so good.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
if
in all
you
the
know,
pictures, and
if you
she
know
looks
yourself
great.
that way, that's awesome.
She just got her hair done, and it was awesome. What about? Is there any sort of prep work that brides should be doing before they go to their trial or before the wedding? You know?
Yeah, for the trial, for me, I just say come as you are, and then I'll make suggestions for the wedding day.
Yeah.
I mean, you always want to have your hair dry. The only problems I've run into at a trial is like I had a bride who was a little bit older, and she had a ton of hairspray in her hair.
Oh.
So it was really hard for me it took a long time for me to brush it first, and then all the curls looked kind of crispy because she had so much hairspray in her hair already. So
yeah.
try not to have too much product in your hair and just make sure it's dry, and then that's fine. And if you need to have anything different for the wedding day, they'll tell you.
But I feel like that is the big dilemma, right? Like, okay, should I wash my hair? Should it be like a day old? Should it be 2 days old?
Okay, let me just clear the air on this. I don't know when this started, the
It
dirty hair
started,
thing.
though. It's a thing.
And every single person was like, I know you like dirty hair. I mean, I just had it this weekend. I know you like dirty hair. I haven't washed it for 5 days. It's super dirty. And I was like, that's really not what we're talking about. So, okay, I don't think that's a thing.
Okay.
I think everybody's hair is different.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
if you have the kind of hair, if you wash your hair every day and you skip a day and it's greasy, I don't want that. Like greasy, oily hair is hard to do. So freshly clean, I'd rather have freshly clean and slippery, and I can kind of dirty it up myself
Right.
with dry shampoo and product. I'll get it to where I need it to go. But if it's oily, it's going to be flat. It's going to be shiny in a way you don't want it to be shiny.
Yes.
But if you're someone who only washes their hair once a week, then do your thing.
Do
You know?
regular.
Yeah, do it regular. And then
maybe don't come in on day 5.
Exactly, like maybe day 3. And I always tell brides that do what they're comfortable with. So if you have to take a shower and wash your hair in the morning because you will feel gross if you don't, then
Yeah,
do it.
do it.
Just make sure it's dry.
Yeah.
As long as it's dry.
Oh, I love
We're
that
cool.
advice.
And then also for people who have really curly hair,
Mhm.
that just comes down to each person and what style you want. So just
Right.
really talk specifically with the hairstylist, like, how should I prep this for the day
Right.
of? And I actually ask, do you have any bridesmaids that are really have highly textured or really curly hair? Because I kind of want to get a heads up for that and planning for time.
Right.
Like, for example, I had a bride this summer who had super long hair. I'm talking like to her knees. And I prepped for her hair. What I didn't know was her whole bridal party had hair to her knees. So I had like my 30-minute situation going on. And then
Yes.
I got in there and I was like,
Oh,
okay,
never mind.
yeah, we need to just
Yes.
do some special
Yeah,
tricks here.
communicate. I
Yeah.
think it's nice. I had one bride, Jenna, she's my favorite, and she had a 35-page packet for her wedding.
Oh my gosh.
Everyone probably like laughs at that and is like, that's ridiculous. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And it was color coded. Anyways, included in it, I'm pretty sure either Jenna did this or Eloise did this. They had pictures of their bridal party.
Oh, that's kind of
And
nice.
I think that's nice to provide to your like stylist. Like, this is, and people do that for styled shoots. Wedding vendors do that for styled shoots. Like, this is what the 3 models look like, or
so
however
you get a
many.
little prep.
Yeah, so you know, oh, okay, she has bleach blonde, like knee length hair is going to be different than this inspiration photo where it's like 1920s pinup curls, and you're like,
well, and that's the thing too,
maybe.
is I always, as I'm doing the trial, I ask those questions like, what is your bridal party like? What kind of style are you looking for them? And if it's just like, oh, they all have kind of regular hair, they can do whatever they want. Okay, that's pretty basic. Okay, if they say we all want the 1920s finger waves, I need to account for that and make some more time.
Right.
Or if they have someone who has really curly hair, I might say, like, pull up your Facebook. Let me see a picture of her so I can kind of get a feel for what she means by that.
Or if you want braids, and like some people have shorter hair, well, their braid's going to look different. So do you still want all braids? Like, what kind of braids? Can you be flexible on that?
Right. So
And I think that's
talking through that in advance.
I think kind of the modern bride is being a little more flexible with what their bridal party looks like, which I think is super nice. First of all, you shouldn't necessarily want to dictate what your bridal party looks like to the point of them not looking like themselves.
Yeah. I think if you have a look that you want for everyone, like everyone has to have a chignon or everyone needs to have a high bun. I've had those bridal parties, and as long as you let them be a little flexible with the way that
How
it
high?
is on
How
them.
full?
Well, right. And can I have a part, or can I have it be a little looser, or do I have to have it this big, or whatever? Then they'll be happy. It's when you're like, have it exactly like this picture.
Right.
That's what makes bridesmaids a little salty.
Yes, salty bridesmaids.
Yeah, you don't want salty bridesmaids.
No.
So if you have a look, that's cool. I think that looks pretty actually sometimes when everyone has like a high ballerina bun or something. But just let them kind of be flexible with how that looks on.
Yeah, just ask them. Hey guys, I really am going for this look. Do you guys like how it is? And show them a picture, and then they'll be like, oh my gosh, so cute.
Yeah, I love it.
I love it. And then you're like, okay, so you're gonna have a bun, and they're like, oh, I hate buns, but I love this picture, so I'll do it for you.
Yeah, or let them have like a little texture in their bun, or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. What about if, like you were saying, if I change my mind, I can do a retrial if I'm a bride. What about on the day of? How do you kind of manage that? Like, you met with a bride and she was like, this is what I want. You did it. And she was like, I love it. She did her engagement pictures with that and she loved them. And then she gets to the wedding day and she's like, well, now I kind of want something different on the wedding day.
Yeah, that's happened. And I'm fine with that because, like I said, I know this bride's hair. Yeah. And I know what her face looks like, and I know kind of how it lays and all those things. So I just spend a good 10 minutes or so really consulting and talking about, like,
okay, what do you
let
want
me see the pictures. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about why. Let's talk about all those things. And I always allow a little extra time for the bride anyway for those kind of reasons. But if she has a total change of hairstyle, a lot of times she knows that a couple days before, or a week or two, or even like a month
Surprise,
before.
I got a bob.
Yeah, or she'll be like, exactly, I can cut my hair. So then they'll send an email and say, this is what I'm thinking. I'll be like, send some pictures my way, and we don't have to do a trial. But if I get an idea for what you're thinking, then on the day of, we can have a quick consult, and I can do it.
And then before you like spray it, you'll be like, okay, do you like?
Oh yeah,
like is this what you were thinking?
And check in on the
do you ever?
Throughout.
Yeah, do you ever do like, okay, I'm gonna run to the bathroom really quick. You just sit with it, to like give them a moment.
Well, and sometimes if they're kind of on the fence, and I know there's someone who just needs to kind of have their hand held a little bit along the way, then I'll just give them a mirror like every 10, 15 minutes or so, and be like, I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell because it's not fully executed, but I'll be like, do you like this kind of volume? Do you like how it's going in the back? Like, just sort of let them see as I'm going. Yeah. And that can give them confidence.
Do you use bump-its?
No.
How do you?
Oh, no, Josie.
I know. Well, I am thinking of a picture I just saw where it's like so evident, and it's like
You can see it.
it's like
big
a
bump in it.
wall.
Look up if you don't know what a bump it is.
It's
Please
like,
look it up.
It's like volume, but volume
Gross.
was made as she was like sitting
Laying
against
down on
wall.
a bed.
Yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. And I
Please
feel
look
like
up
it
bump
might
its.
be from a bump it.
See, a bump it is really small, kind of too. I don't know. It was like a thing. You remember Snooki and like the Snooki poof? We're talking like I think 8-9 years ago because that's when I was in beauty school.
Oh my Lanta.
And people always wanted a bump or a poof.
A poof.
And a lot of people said, "Hi,
I have one today.
can I have the poof?" And you can have a poof.
Yeah.
Please, but let's make it look
a
natural.
modern one.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like flat hair and then all of a sudden this really unnatural huge bump.
That's not great.
No.
Especially if you have thin hair.
And you see right through it.
Yes.
Not cool.
What about how do you manage that? Like if a bride comes in and they haven't gotten their roots done.
Oh, I'll ask, are you planning on getting your hair colored before your wedding? And if they're like, nope, that's their prerogative. But
so do you try to like style it? I also work in hospice. And yesterday, this cute little old lady, I like set her hair, and she had like an inch of gray grow out, and there's nothing I can do about it. But I just was thinking for brides, like that'd be really unfortunate to have this really pretty hairstyle, but then you have like a different color halo around your head.
And I'll ask that and say like, oh, this style would look really great if A, B, or C, or you got a balayage, or like see how the back looks really nice with your highlights. Are you gonna touch those highlights up? But I don't think I've had a bride who's been like, no, I really like my roots this dark.
Yeah,
most people are about to do it, and they kind of want to ask me like, how soon should I get it done before the wedding?
Yeah.
Which, just a side note, I would recommend if you're getting color to do it at least a week or 2 before your wedding, so we have some time to sit with it, and in case they make a mistake.
This year that their hair got dyed a color they didn't want it to be.
I had one too, and actually her hair got so bad that it was like fried, and she had to cut it 3 inches, and she was planning on wearing her hair down, and then she had to get extensions like 2 days before her wedding.
Like $100 extensions.
Oh, yeah. Because her hair was too short.
Yes, because to get them long.
Yeah. So don't get a new hairstylist before your wedding. Go to your same old person. Or if you're trying to switch new ones, try them out a couple times beforehand. And I would say if you're going to try something drastic or a new blonde or something, do it like a month in advance. So you have some time to make sure it's exactly what you want.
I had a bride and her hair turned purple. The stylist was like, if I dye your hair one more time, it's going to be purple. And she was like, that's
do
okay.
it anyway.
I would like you to do it.
Oh, no.
And it was purple.
Mm-hmm. And not probably the purple that she wanted.
Not the color purple. No.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. What is one specific piece of advice that you want to give to brides and grooms? I mean, mostly brides. Grooms.
Are hair related?
Yeah. Both. Let's do both. So let's do 2 pieces of advice.
Okay. So my hair related advice is to just be okay with being really picky. I think, like I said before, we feel bad. Yes. We think it's vain. I think I struggle with that a little bit. Like, I'm spending 2 hours on my hair. Like, I feel like really bougie or really like vain. But honestly, it's like your special day. You are on display for the world to see for the whole day. You have pictures for the rest of your life. You can't be too picky.
Right.
Like, it is okay to go back and forth between one strand of hair for 30 minutes. I did that. I honestly sat with one piece of hair in the front of my head for 30 minutes, and I had to like take a cool-it break and be like, okay, you're going to figure this out. And I get brides all the time that I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I'm asking these questions. I'm sorry to have you change it. I'm sorry to, you're
don't
not.
Say sorry.
Don't be sorry. It's okay.
Right.
Like, this is not just going to the office. This is your wedding day.
But maybe be nice about it.
Oh, be nice. Like,
I hate this, Heidi. You suck.
And if someone said that, cool. But just be picky. It's fine. You want to love it. You don't want to look back at your pictures and be like, I wish I would have asked for this. Like, be really picky about your makeup too. So that's my piece of advice for hair. For the wedding, for brides and grooms, this maybe seems a little out of the box, but I think everyone should have a wedding like mission statement or purpose statement. So think about like, what is it that you want your wedding to achieve? Right. Obviously you want to get married, but like, do you want to have a great party? Yeah. Or do you want to have like a really meaningful ceremony? Or do you want like, what is it that you really, really care about? And talk about that with your fiance and keep that as the focus.
At the forefront when you're doing all the planning stuff.
Yes, because there's
we want it to
so
be
many
fun.
details. Yes, there's so many details. and it's hard to do all of it, and you can't make everything amazing. So, like, if you're really, really care about having a great party, then focus on the DJ, focus on the music that's being played, like the decor, the food, like all those things are going to be important. And let the ceremony part just kind of like
and be chill about your outfits and
exactly.
be chill about like your hair updo,
yes.
downdo, like.
Yes. So I think when you first get engaged, it's fun. Like go on a date with your fiance and kind of write out like a mission or a purpose statement for your wedding, what you want it to be. And then in your whole planning, when you're spending money, when you're making decisions, keep coming back to that and see if it lines up with what you guys talked about when you first decided to get married.
Yeah. I offer a mini course for that. And part of it, it's like one of 3 parts, is determining your wedding wants. So where do we want to get married? What do we want it to look like? How do we want people to feel? How do I want to feel?
Yes.
What words do I want guests to use when describing our wedding a year from now or 2 years from now or after our wedding? Like people always talk about my wedding. We did like this whole Seattle experience and they're like, it was so fun. And I really like that we got to explore the city. And that's what we wanted. Since people are coming in from out of town, like I'm originally from there, but half of our entire wedding had never been to Seattle. So it was like we wanted them to really experience and like get an idea of what my life was like.
Yes.
And then it was really great because we did like the Space Needle and we did like Ivers down on the pier. And then, but then we also had like backyard groom's dinner at my parents' house where it misted the whole day. Well, that's the story of my life.
Seattle,
like I only wore flip-flops and hooded sweatshirts my like entire life because of the rain. So it was really great that they got to experience kind of all of that. And that was our mission. Like we wanted people to experience and have fun. And so then other brides and grooms, like if you're like, I really want a calm, peaceful day. Okay, well,
what does that look like? Like how can you make that happen? And that's my husband and I had really different visions for our wedding. So sometimes that might happen. He really wanted to have a fun party. And I was cool with that. But I really cared about having like this really meaningful covenant ceremony. And I wanted to really bask in every moment of the ceremony. So I spent a lot of time in the ceremony. And I spent a lot of time having a lot of like peace and reflection and stuff in the morning before we got married because I wanted to just take that all in.
Right.
And then he wanted this really fun party, so we made sure we had like an open bar and we had good music, and that's what people talk about.
And you invited a lot of people.
Invited a ton of people, and
don't
everyone
sit down.
Right, stand up, keep
mingle.
dancing, like drink, have a good time, and that's what people say. Like they say that I was like one of the happiest brides I've ever seen because I was so thrilled out of my mind to be getting married.
Yeah.
And so happy to be marrying him, and that's all I cared about. If we would have left after the ceremony, I would have been fine. Like that's what I wanted, and I was thrilled. And then everyone's like, it was so fun. Like we just had such a good time dancing and having a good time, and that was exactly what we wanted. And I think every other detail, like flowers, bow tie, whatever, we were like, oh yeah, whatever, that's fine.
Whatever.
Like we can take it or leave it. Like, and it made for wedding planning to be so much easier. It made it more fun. And then we left our wedding being like, that was perfect. We were both so happy.
Yeah. And that's cute that you say, too, like, that's exactly what we wanted, even though you just explained, like, what you really wanted and what he really wanted. I think that's important that you support each other's wants.
Totally.
So it's not just your wedding. It can't just be your wedding. If it's just your wedding, it's not a wedding. Legally, you have to have 2 people.
Right.
You can't marry yourself.
Right. Start out on a good foot in marriage.
Yeah.
Support
each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I love love. Let's get married right now.
Okay.
Where's the wedding? Anyone getting married on a Wednesday?
Someone's getting married tomorrow.
Yay! On a Thursday?
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
I want some more Thursday weddings. I'd love some more brunch weddings.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a huge fan of brunch.
A golf wedding. I did a golf wedding. Everyone golfed, had brunch and golfed afterwards. That was a reception.
Fun.
Golfing. I know.
That's
Isn't that cool?
awesome.
On a Sunday. It was fun.
Gosh. Why wasn't I invited?
I don't
Shoot. Can you tell listeners about where they can find 139 Hair by Heidi? Do you want to explain the 139?
Sure. So for me, 139, it comes from a psalm in the Bible talking about being fearfully and wonderfully made. And the reason I chose that was because I feel like even though my business is very aesthetic and making you look pretty on the outside, I really feel like we need to feel beautiful on the inside and who we are and who God made us to be. And so that's my mission every time I make someone's hair look amazing, is that they feel really confident in who they are and who they created to be. So that's why I did that. And I wanted something to distinguish Hair by Heidi because there's Hair by Heidi's all over the place. So there's only 139 Hair by Heidi. So you can find it at www.139hairbyheidi.com or at 139Hair by Heidi on Instagram. It's probably the best way.
And I'll put links to all that in the show notes.
Awesome.
Anything else you'd like to tell the wonderful world of podcast listeners?
just have a good time. Have a good time planning your wedding. This is a short season of your life, and just enjoy being engaged, flashing that ring.
Yes.
It's a fun season. Just live it up. Don't get stressed.
It's a stage in your life.
Yes, and it will go so fast.
Yes.
So enjoy every moment.
Yes, for sure. Oh, I love it. Okay, end every episode with a high five.
Woohoo!